Okay, graphing system of linear inequalities. So how to graph system of linear inequalities? There's some steps that we need to follow. So first step, always isolate your y. Once again, leave the y by itself. Second step, make sure that you plot the y-intercept first. And then we're going to use the slope to do the rise over the run. Next, you're going to ask yourself, what kind of line do we have? Solid or dotted? Once again, your dotted lines are your symbols less than or greater than, and solid line is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Number 5 is to shade under or above. Once again, under means below, over means above. Once again, anything that is under means less, right? So it's less than or equal to. And the word over means more, means above, arriba. So that's greater than or equal to. And you just repeat the step for the second line. So same thing like we did with linear system of linear equations. Example number 1. You notice that the y is not by itself. So do the same drill. Move the x by doing the inverse operation. We're left with y greater than negative 2x minus 4. So first graph your y-intercept, which is a negative 4 as you notice. And then we're going to use the slope to do the rise over the run, which means from here, we're going to have to go down 2 units and then 1 to the right. Look at your symbol. What kind of line is this? We already know that this is the dotted line and it's going to be shaded above. And in other words, over. So once again, it's going to be it's dotted and it's shaded above. We're not done. Now we're doing a second line in the same graph. So once again, y is not by itself. We gotta move the x by doing the inverse operation. The y is still not by itself, so we have to divide everything by a 4. Simplify, and this is our equation. Once again, plot the y-intercept first, which is a positive 3 now. You can see it right there in pink. Now we're going to use the slope, and this is telling me that I'm going to have to go 1 unit down and then 4 to the right. Now look at the symbol. What kind of line is this? Solid or dotted? It has the line on the bottom, so that's automatically a solid line. And where is it shaded? This is shaded under. So once again, it is a solid line and is shaded under. Now, this is a little bit different because there's a lot of shading involved. Your solution to this system is basically the overlapping region of the shaded area, which is what's right there in dark, in a darker black color. So that means the top, that is not your solution, and this part that came down is not your solution. It's only where the overlapping of the shading happens. That is your solution to both equations. Let's give it a try with another problem. So once again, we know the drill. We need to leave the y by itself. Now that you left the y by itself, you first have to plot the y-intercept, which is a positive 4. And then we're going to use the slope to do the rise over the run, which means 1 down unit, 2 to the right. Now, look at your line. Look at your symbol. What kind of line is it? We notice that it's a dotted line, and this symbol represents shaded above. Done with the first equation. Now we need to hit the second equation. Leave the y by itself, but be careful in here because we are dividing by a negative 2. So what's going to happen to the symbol? As you notice, the symbol flipped. Once you have the y by itself, graph the y-intercept first, which is a positive 2, as you notice on your picture, and then use the slope. That slope means, hey, I need to go 1 unit up and 2 to the right. Now look at the symbol. What kind of line do we have? This line means a dotted line, and this means shaded over. So once again, look for that overshaded region, and that is your solution. the double shaded region. Once again, that's we're just taking that away so you notice which one is the double shaded region. Now, if we look at the next example, which is number 3, the one on purple, first equation, y is not by itself, so we gotta leave the y. Be careful, it is a negative y, so we need to divide everything by a negative 1. Once we divide everything by a negative 1, of course, finally the y is by itself. You gotta plot the y-intercept first, which is 4, and then use your slope to graph the next point, which means 1 up and 1 right. Now, what kind of line do we have? The symbol will tell you. This is a solid line, and this symbol is telling me to shade it over, so above it. Now, the second equation looks a little bit different. We have x greater than or equal to 2. So once again, that's a vertical line. It is an undefined slope, and it crosses your x-axis. It's going to cross your x-axis at 2. And then what kind of line do we have? That the symbol will tell us that's a solid. Since it's greater than or equal to, that's shaded to the left. It should be shaded to the right-hand side, sorry, because that's greater than or equal to. Okay, so disregard the letter right there. It should be shaded to the right. Look for your overshaded region. Is that little small gap over there? So that is part of the solution. And you're done. Next example. What do you notice about both of these equations? The y is by itself. So easy. Plot the y-intercept first. Use the slope. Look at your symbol. This means dotted and it is shaded under, so dotted and shaded under. Second equation, the beauty is that the y is by itself, so we're going to graph the y-intercept, which is 2, and then we're going to use the slope, which is 4 up and 1 to the right. And then look at the line. The line means solid and shaded below. So solid line, shaded below, and you're looking for that overshaded region, which is down there. So that is the solution for both equations. Not this side on pink and not this side on purple. Only what's right there on the bottom on black. Next example. Number 5. The y is by itself. You know the drill. Look at the line. That's a dotted line. Where is it shaded? Right below it. Under. Second line, the y is not by itself, so all we gotta do is divide everything by a negative 3. So we're dividing by a negative, so what happens to that symbol? The symbol is going to flip. Finally, the y is by itself. We do the rest of the points in graphing. But you notice that the lines are the same, and the shaded now is gonna be where? For this one, the equation is the same, but the symbols are different. So do you notice any overlapping region in here? Nope. So these are the ones that we called no solution because there's no overlapping region. It can happen also. Let's look at the last, I think this is the last example. I'm not going to be talking too much. Remember, the goal is to leave the y by itself. You know the drill. Y-intercept, slope, look at the line, dotted, shaded under. Jump to the second equation. Y is by itself, graph the y-intercept, and then do the slope. And then we're shading where? Over. Now, where is the overshaded region? Right there in the middle. Not over there, not over here in the very bottom, only that double shaded region. That is your solution.